Boo, 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 doo, doo, boo, boo. Well, we'll see who shows up. We'll go over some stuff, though. Don't worry. Mm-hmm. You think I should? No. They're still going to do the same shit, dude. You can't change them. I shook the tree. I always shake the tree with these clowns. I've been doing. I troll these guys like almost every morning. Always messing with them. I like to see who's taking this seriously or not. He's not going to say nothing, dude. He's like he's young, but he's also like kind of lost right now and what direction he wants to go. But because of his age, he doesn't want to admit defeat yet. So maybe I'll pick him back up when he he's on the streets. I don't know. Some people are like really easy to teach, and others are super stubborn. Like I was going over like some of the stuff uh, from the webinar or from the indicator, and like the new stuff I added, like the EMA. And he was just like, oh, well, it's not like a regular EMA, so why use it? Like, because that's how I see things. But to him, it see, the thing is everything just looks so foreign to people right now. They need like that comfort, and they're not getting that comfort on this indicator. And I don't know how I can like show it to people, you know? Like I've been using it for so long that like I'm used to seeing potential bounces or when to sell. And I think it's more of an like experience factor than just going, oh, you know, this is how you use it, blah, blah, blah. Here's the manual, read it. And you should be able to trade, no problem. There's a lot of like other things people have to work, you know, some of those inner demons that they have might be, you know, a gambling problem. Maybe they're stuck on, you know, doing these Momo trades or penny stocks, or maybe they don't have a lot of confidence, or maybe they don't have any risk management, or maybe they don't know about market cycles. I mean, there's so many like different elements that can just put huge walls in your trading, even with a tool like the indicator that can bring in profit. That's all logical. There's no emotional ties to it. It just lets you know, what stands and what doesn't stand. But there's still like confusion. There's still people doing the same traditional trading. So I just like to give people grief. Yeah, you can chat in here too. So it seems like, but if this is something else, that's fine. Yeah, I think so too. I think he doesn't want to admit that he is off. And he might have a small little following that if they see his weakness, you know what I mean? If they see like, his calls aren't, he's still very new. And that was, see, I try to be, because I can be very direct person because of my military background. I could be very direct. Even my wife says that. So I try to, because dude, you can just blow on someone and they get their feelings hurt. If I just went in a direct way and said, dude, the way that you're trading, you're not going to last long in this. You're going to lose. You're not going to make money. You're going to break even. You're going to lose money. You're not even using the indicator the proper way. Blah, blah, blah. Right. So I'm saying you a lot. That's a lot of direct, words coming at him. So I don't want to be that way, but I'm going to be very tactful in saying the same thing in a non-direct way, which was sort of how I was talking to people this morning, Exactly. It's a hard habit. It's really hard. And some people just don't understand it. They just don't grasp it. And maybe they stay in those patterns. There's a guy though. I sometimes like if someone's interested in getting the indicator, if I'm doing a webinar, maybe I'll just share the webinar link with him so he can sort of see what we do. No, I mean, nobody wants to lose money, right? It's not like you're going into trading and just being like, you know what, today I want to lose all my money. But when you do lose, you don't just lose your money, you lose your confidence. That urge to want to get into a trade is not there anymore because you're not confident if that trade's going to hold up or not. So I'm trying my best, to make this easier for people. I don't know how I want to handle the situation that's going on in the chat. There's that one part of me that just wants to expel some of the naysayers or some other people doing the other methods. But then I also kind of see them as a challenge. What's up, Luca? For this, I thought Luca was from Asia. I was like, man, this guy's dedicated. He's always on. But not the case. Still dedicated. Not saying that. So I'm going to invite someone else into the webinar who's looking to purchase the webinar. So if we can kind of let them know like what we're doing. See, the thing is, like this is like what hurts my brain. Like really hurts my brain because I know how complex this indicator is. Like I know it's a pain in the ass. It's hard for it to sell itself. So when I see people doing the traditional ways of trading, I just want to like wring everyone's neck because that's like, there's so many different chat rooms that do the same crap, and people get stuck into them, man. The chatter trading. That's what I call it. The chat groups. Oh, did you hear this one's going up? Like Stockwicks, that place is terrible. But so I was trying to, do something different. So when I like invite people to see, I want them to be like, holy crap. Like I've never seen this technical analysis before. I've never seen something like this. This is new. This is awesome. This is unique. So a great example. Follow the popular without recognizing whether it's for them in the system are interested as their best interest. People have trouble looking at it. Well, I mean, for a fact how much work I put into this. And now you're putting into a lot of work into this, scanning the stocks, see people who like want me to teach them have to show interest in wanting to do so. And OK is definitely shown a ton of interest. And he's there, dude. The guy grinds with me in the mornings. Except this morning because I needed to, it was the holidays, so I really needed to take a look at all my other stocks that I had and see if I wanted to play them still. So there wasn't a lot of new scanning going on. So it was just a lot of homework I had to do, and sometimes you have to be alone. Sometimes you have to really focus on your money. You know, you don't see poker players in a voice chat talking about their hand. You don't see that, right? Like like they'd be a really bad poker player. Hey, I got a full house or something, right? Like they're not gonna, if they show their hand, then everybody sees their hand. Everybody sees it. Hey Ryan, thanks for joining, man. Usually I do these webinars like way earlier in the morning. Oh, wait, was there? Uh anyways. So yeah, you don't show your hands. So that's why I have a problem with, and it's not just the Momo voice area, right? Because I'm trying to like make everyone happy. But it's also like other groups that I'm in that do the same stuff. Like they have to have like, a voice section so they can talk. So they can talk about their stocks, right? There should be only chatter when you're looking for stocks. The chatter should go off when you're trading the stock. Because as soon as you start talking about that stock, you're allowing emotional context into your logic, right? You start thinking not on the chart, but thinking what the other person is doing. Now it becomes this competitive mind prison. Your brain is trapped, right? So that's why sometimes I don't get on the voice, and sometimes I won't do a webinar if it's a big trade, if I'm doing big trades. I try, like I try to do the webinars daily, and like even now we'll do them. But of course I want you guys to make profit as well, you know. So I think that's the real problem is Ori wants popularity. He wants to show his cards to the world. And guess what? He's playing the same stocks that everyone else is showing their cards to. Everybody else is showing their cards to AMD and Twitter and Netflix and the FANG stocks. Exactly. Those bots are still making money off mental mistakes. If everyone thought logical, those bots would be out of business. Do you think the bots are making money off me? Fuck no. Nope. You think exchange and the brokerages like me? Fuck no. They don't like me. Because when I cash out, I'm taking their money, like pay me. Pay me. But people who chase trades or play those Momo stocks or play the popular ones, they pay in the exchanges guaranteed. Guaranteed. Why? Because you are just playing one freaking stock or two, and you're just playing it up or going down. So you're paying those fees each time. And for people who don't have a high budget for trading, they're probably, running out of trades for the week. So, not trying to get into a rant or anything, but just sharing, years of trial and error myself. I was in the same boat. I did the same things. I was not eating. You know what I mean? I was not eating. So we'll eat. I wasn't eating. I was starving out there, dude. It's tough. So I'm building the course program so I can guide you guys in the correct direction, because stocks are not always going to play the same strategy every single day. They're not. It's impossible. They always change, right? So I had to build a system that adapts to change. If you just traded off a 9 EMA, that strategy is only going to work for so long, right? It might work only on a trend, on the upside. But what happens after? So you have to build a bigger system so you can have multiple strategies that build one strategy. That's the simplicity of it. The complex part is trying to narrate that to an audience that is already lacking confidence and is new to trading. So let me share my screen, because who doesn't like seeing charts, right?
What's up, Thomas?
What's up, man? How you doing?
I finally got home from work. I got some time to chill out and look at charts.
Cool. Let me just get my share screen going. So, but like, I know, right? Like, I know that this takes time to learn. Is this sharing my whole screen? What is this sharing right now?
Looking at Golden.
Is it looking at my Ameritrade account too?
Nope.
What the hell? All right. I don't know why it won't do. Okay, whatever. So you can see this chart.
Yep.
Perfect. Cool. So so this stuff takes time, right? Like learning takes time. And it's not something that I am recording. It's not something that you're going to grasp in an instant. It takes time. So when I first started releasing this indicator, it was actually in another Discord where people were getting burned from this moron's strategy. Now, I used to post pictures all the time, or charts of my strategy in his Discord, but I would never like shill it or anything like that. I wasn't even trying to sell it, honestly. But I don't know, man. After hanging around people in crypto, I got like a soft heart or something, because I just felt the pain that people were losing money. So that's when I was like, well, if something happens in life, a little side income never hurts. Not to mention, people are gonna take more worth of it than someone if you give it to them for free, right? Like, if my daughter, if I bought her something, right, she's not going to treat it the best. But if she buys something for herself, she's going to treat it better. So it's the same. It's the same thought process. So when I decided to sell this indicator, it was so I could see if you know, people really took this seriously or not. And I'm coming to find out it's not really happening, because I can look at all the offline players and there's 66 people. Now, granted, a lot of those traders are from crypto. So it will be very interesting when crypto, you know, finally does the real bounce and goes up, to see if these guys will come back in and stuff. So that'll be fun if that happens. Because I like a busy group. I like people talking. I like the chatter. I just want everybody on the same page. So, for instance, so let's get to the actual TA. So you'll see that this indicator that you guys have now, you can turn everything off. And sometimes maybe I just want to see what the big players are doing, right? Not the mental. I don't want to see the mental part. I just want to see the logic. That's the VWAPs, right? So it's averaging the volume all the way in the past. Okay, so I'm seeing where the rejections are really happening, you know, and the big acceptance and stuff. So golden group, I'm seeing that there's a little rejection, or it's actually testing the VWAP, because technically it hasn't gone past it and it hasn't gone below it. Okay, the new multiplier, well, not new, but the new indicator that you guys have, you can turn anything on and off that you want. Okay, and then you can just change your, I think it's your intervals or your drawings or something. And you can have the bands on one chart and then have no bands on the other chart. So it's however you want to set that up. So, but the biggest thing is, right, is you can see I have a ton of like different stocks. And it doesn't mean that I'm trading all of these. I'm probably just watching them. Okay. Like I played SQ, for instance. But see, one thing you'll learn about me is I buy these things on the bottom. Guys, I buy this shit cheap. Okay? I don't mess around. I buy it cheap. Cheap. So this was a really good example. This is where I sold up here. No bullshit. I thought I was going to hit 100, but it didn't. Do you think I held on here? No. No, that was the top. I'm not going to hold on to that. Even if it did this, right? I'm still losing money. Not technically, I'm not losing money because I bought at 55, but just putting that perspective out there, that it pays to buy the bottom, right? You get paid when you buy the bottom. It just depends how long you want to hold it. And some people don't have the patience for this method. But there are stocks, right? And this is where my daily tradings come from, right? There are stocks that I'll just hold for the day, that I see maybe 3, 4, 5% growth, and I'm good with that. So you have to build your own system, but just make sure that what you're building is logical to what you're using, right? So people who trade off Elliott waves, if they go against the Elliott wave strategy, you know, they're not going by its logic. So you got to commit to whatever strategy you're doing. Okay. Well, so my mindset, okay, is this is a strategy. This indicator is a strategy. Okay. But people aren't using it as a strategy. So that's the scratcher. That's the one I'm still trying to figure out. Right. So for instance, even SQ, we can just look at SQ right now. Why not? So this is a good way to do your charts. Okay. And remember, you can just go here and blow up anyone you want. No problem. Okay. You don't have to just stick to one chart. You shouldn't. Okay. And I was talking to OK about that this morning, is it's really the indicator is not built off 3 different time frames. That's just the criteria of when I want to buy at the bottom, that it has to meet a certain criteria. Now, during the trade, I'm just looking for those resistance areas. I'm looking for the supports. I'm looking if I need to sell it or not. If I was in this trade for SQ, I would be looking at that $70 mark to sell. Why? Because it's popping up resistance on numerous time frames. Now, the daily, wait, hold on. Let me make sure I don't have my, yep, knew it. Multipliers get me every time. Hold up. That shouldn't matter though, because the daily multiplier, no, okay. Okay, it looks okay. Do I have the, yeah, because it shows the view. Do I have the long one? Okay. So that looks good. I mean, this is, I mean, you could hold it to, you know, to the next resistance 79-ish. But I do see, you know, correlation. I see some higher resistance right here at this price. So if you bought the bottom, a $10 move is fucking awesome, right? Like who's going to complain making that kind of profit? So I think that's my point, is knowing when to get out of it. And in this scenario, you kind of see this line right here, okay, at $70. Now what you do is you go to a lower time frame, all right, to see if it's in that testing edge, which it is. You can tell it has not touched this area in a long time. When was the last time I actually touched this area? Right about there? About here. Boom, boom. I'm just looking at something here. Hold on. So you can see it tested here, it failed. And now it's trying to go up. Okay, now I have this multiplier set up higher. You see? So I can move that longer VWAP up. See how it's doing that? And all that's showing me is like if there's similar resistance areas in that spot. So sometimes I'll just use the VWAP just to see if that's an area where, you know, it's going to go up or not. So the next step, you know, next resistance for it at the multiplier 4 is that 67 price. So that's sort of how I look at it. And then we have the 70 price right here. So then I will add on the short bands to see if it's in the red. If it's in the red, right, which is not yet, okay, so we can still play this unless it rejects right here. But then that's when you look at the direction of the bands. All right, if I'm going too fast, just let me know. This is the direction of the bands. Okay, if you bought right here at 54, see the direction? See, it's trending up from the direction of the bands. Okay, these bands are pushing up. Now I have this multiplier set on a higher time frame, but the short band is still pushing up. That's where I see that $70 resistance range, which makes sense because it's getting into the red bands. And anytime it gets in the red bands, 2 things happen. It rejects or it explodes. But you always will know that because there's always a resistance area on those red bands. So if we bought, right, according to using the scanner system that we have and the system I've taught you guys, if we bought the bottom, this is how you would actively trade this. This is how you would keep looking at your trade, is by looking for these resistance and supports and then using those, right, as either a stop loss, right? I mean, technically, if you bought right here, you could put your stop loss right there at 62. So it takes time to learn, okay? How do you know that is the bottom? Okay, that is a good question. The bottom is where it stops going down, right? as bland of a answer that is, you would be surprised at how many people cannot see it. So just for shits and giggles, let me show you Yico or whatever. This is how you play a volatile stock, okay? And I actually wrote it all out. I drew it. Drew it out. Let me remove the indicator, okay? I just want to show you guys something. Some of you have already seen it. If you have, great. If not, then you're learning. Okay. So let me get my moving average turned back on. Okay. So you see there was no bounce down, right? You see that. If it would have bounced down, then you couldn't play this. But what you're noticing here are the VWAPs and this moving average here, okay? So as soon as it propped over this, right, and it confirmed with the VWAP, you could have played this trade. Okay, so that's your first part. That's your first part of this volatile strategy. The next is selling it. So how would you have known when to sell it? What indicates a buy? Because look how long of it, it was in a very long consolidation range. Okay. This is just one example. I'm not saying that if you traded, if you found this, some of that would have been lucky. Maybe it would have been caught on the scanner. Maybe it looked good on the daily. But this is just if you were playing this trade. Okay. The visual, this is the mental part. This is what happened. Okay. So this was the initial profit, all through here. Okay. Now it never dropped past this deviation. So you could have held it. Why? Because you bought down here. Okay. Now people would say that's greedy. Well, if it breaks through there, you still make profit. But if it keeps climbing, which it did, but somewhere along the lines, this trade stopped being profitable. So when I was using these bands, let me make sure it's set right. It would have showed you areas or patterns of where there was rejection before. Okay. So when this was actively trading, using the multiplier, you would have found those areas of rejection, which were right here. But what I was trying to illustrate is how other people traded this. Okay. Now someone could have made profit right here, or you could have held and just had a tight stop loss. But this was the issue. This is what happened though. And people start freaking out. Right? And I don't think this has ever gone up since, like ever gone up that high. I think it went up once. right there at $9. Did it go higher? Let's see. Nope. It's done. Okay. So if you wanted to, you wait for it to get cheap again. This is a game of patience. Put a tight stop loss in and all that jazz. I'm not saying you don't have to trade this ticker. I'm just giving you an example of that illustration of what I look at sometimes according to the bands. Now, these would have played differently on different time frames. Okay. Being so that it was such a newbie of an asset, this would have been just luck to get into this trade. But when we're talking about something that doesn't bounce down, that's a good example. Okay. Now, if we go back to like, let me look at one like GOGL. That's a trade I'm in. Okay, golden. So how would you have known it's the bottom? Okay, well, you can clearly see through here, right, that it never dropped past this deviation. And this was already in the greens. And this is on a higher time frame. So that tells me someone didn't want to go any lower. So it did test this bounce area twice. Okay. So you would have had like a tight stop loss. But another key thing, a key ingredient was the RSI. So the RSI was also low. Okay. Now it kind of did a little swoop, but technically it never touched this 30. It just kept climbing back up. So that's one route you could have played this trade. Okay. But the key is trying to buy in at the bottom. Does that mean that this couldn't go down? I mean, it could be looking for this price, but you can still make profit if you bought the bottom, if you bought it low. Okay. Let me try. What's another one that was it FTI? Some of these you can see a lot more clear before they bounce. All right, so blow this up. So another good example, right? So here's the mental part. The panic sell. When you see something go down this low, right? It's obviously oversold or yeah. So it's oversold, right? You guys see that? Okay. So if it's this low in the band, sometimes I'll check the 2-day. I'll check areas where I saw a support line. There's got to be some kind of support that told me to buy this, right? And it might have been on a lower time frame. So you went and bought it here, you would have lost money. Let's see if we can find it. So we see where the resistance is from this VWAP, right? So it's got to break through that if it wants to go higher. These are a lot harder to spot. Maybe right there. Maybe right there. But you can tell this is still looking like a downtrend, right? If you took the bands off, it looks like it's going to go up, you know? But if you put the bands back on, you can see the direction. Look at the direction. Now, it could possibly start smoothing out through here, sort of like this. And then, like this, it could gradually go up. Or it could just like consolidate through here. Yeah. So it really just depends, as long as you are buying the bottom and then taking that profit, that's really all you care about, right? You don't want to get like emotionally tied to these stocks because they just change directions all the time. One second. One second. Oops. 1 second. That was weird. So when we're scanning in the mornings, we're looking for areas to buy in the green, and then we're looking at patterns of where it likes to bounce from those patterns, from the bands. If that makes sense. But this was a good example of it just didn't bounce. It didn't drop any lower. If I can blow it up some more. Oops. One thing is it broke through this deviation line. Okay. So this was the resistance for it right through here. And it broke through it. Now, if it would have failed that, and closed below, it would just continue falling. But it makes more sense than to buy right here. Me. Because I see more profit down here than I do right here. Is there any tickers you guys want to take a look at? Where's Bud? Trying to find one. Bud. See if Bud would have been tricky for some buyers. Bud's one, yeah, Bud's one you would have had to nail the bottom. And a similar trade did this before to me. It was PM. Did the same thing. It was funny because actually Kasia and I bought PM at the same time. But he sold. So this was the initial buy-in right through here. Okay. Because it didn't bounce down. It didn't go lower than this deviation. It stayed right here. Okay, so we knew it was time to bounce up. Now, I believe he sold at $80. Why do you think he sold right here? No confidence on where it could go, no VWAP review, right? So what he was seeing is that it looks like it was going to dip back down. Now it got this would have been a tricky trade, okay? Because of how many times it tested this range. Okay? But with confidence comes profit. And this was an area where the whole market was kind of suffering. That would have been pretty tricky here as well. But we just look on the bands to see if it still has room to go up or not, or if there's so much resistance that it's going to go lower, like it's going to reject. So here's that price again at $92. When it gets into these gray ranges, right? When it's out of the green and the red, I usually hold it. But as you can even see here, it was still playing perfectly off these bands, right? It was playing like ping pong, but the direction was still going up. So then when you see it go into the big guys, the big bands here, okay, then what I look for is, one, if it's getting overbought or oversold. Two, if the RSI is above 70. And three, if there's patterns of areas it's rejected before, which it has. You see that? Right here. So that's important too to look at, is areas where there was rejections based on the bands. Well, anytime you do like these long-term type holds, that's when I do like the multiplier and do all my supports and stuff. So support resistant lines. Yep. I'm just answering that in case you guys were thinking that. Can we screen Twitter? Oh, you're killing me. All right. Okay, so remember this was the short, right? This was the short one. This is the one I was talking about before. This is the one that you should have sold at $35-ish. Yep. Because anytime in the middle, like for instance, right, I didn't even mess with this area here, but this is where the short was at 35. Okay, your take profit was as soon as it got into the green bands. Now, can it go lower? Yes, it can. But you're losing profit. If you were shorting this, your short would have sold down here. Okay? Because look how much it gained back up. If you sold at 35 and now it's up at 32, you're losing profit. So these lines here are showing areas that it's bounced before. Okay? and showing areas where it's resisted before. So it might resist again at 33.89. But if I short it up here and it broke through this line, then it broke through this line, it broke through this line, but it bounced here, that's my sell point. And sometimes you can see that from the direction of the bands. That's where that's the correlation that I try to get across to you guys. And just like OK learned that, because some people don't know this trick either. Oh, this might be tricky now. How am I going to do this? All right. So let's do different time frames here. Okay? Let's put a 6 hour time frame. Okay? 6 hour. Is my crosshairs all on? Oh. This is a 5 minute, so let's change that to 30 minutes. 6 hours. Let's change that to an hour chart. 6 hours. Yeah, right there. You guys see what I just did? If you didn't, pay attention. So this short band here, okay, on a 6 hour chart, the short band is actually the long band on the 1 hour chart. Oh, you see how they line up? The deviations? Both the crosshairs are lining up. That's what you're seeing. You're seeing this on a 1 hour time frame is that short band. This helps to see where the direction is going. It's the same exact thing. If I remove the long bands, remove all this crap actually. Okay. Let's blow it up. Blow that up. Okay, now let's get this guy. Remove the short bands. Now you tell me, is that not the same damn thing? It even rejected on the same deviation. Okay, so you can look at an hour chart and see the 6 hour play going on at the same time. And then that short band is like the 5 minute big band going on at the same time. So what this helps to show you is where the resistance areas are, but it also helps to show you where the direction of the path is going, or where the next resistance is going to be. Is it safe to assume once we touch the resistance line, I can open a short? You only short it when it has similarities on multiple time frames that show the same resistance. So let's just say, right, it rejected here before at this price. Okay. Now, a rule of thumb, if it goes lower than this, right, it's considered bullish or bearish. Okay, if it goes lower than this price. Did it? No. So it's still, this kind of concerns me a little bit, right? But let's just say it keeps climbing because it technically, well, right now it's testing. Let's put it that way, okay? I think it might go higher. But let's say it keeps climbing. If it rejects, so last time it rejected right here. So now we go all the way up here at $40-ish. Okay. Let's just put a line. Oh, I can't. Let me see if it's, hold on. Let me change some stuff here. Hold on. Let's just say $40. Okay. We see where there's rejection going on right now. Right? Because how many times? 1, 2, 3, 4 different times it's rejected this area, this price. And if you see where my cursor's going, you see that? Do you see that on the right-hand side on the 360 chart? It's testing that VWAP. So this is an area where you're putting a tight stop loss. And you're playing smaller charts. You don't like seeing this. Okay? When you start seeing the small band squeeze like this at the top, that's already at the top, it's most likely going to go down. But we don't like to predict. Okay? We like to put if statements. So we see there's a your support lines are right here, these two lines right here, okay, on this very small time frame. If it breaks this line, it's going to go lower. And we can watch this in real time. I think it. Because this is the big one, right? This is the big deviation, the big band. So if it breaks this $32, it's going to drop. Why? Because it's going below, it's closing below the VWAP on a bigger time frame. See? Now, if we were holding this play, right? If we were holding this trade, and say we did buy the bottom, though it would be pretty dumb to, let's just say you were on vacation or something. If you bought all the way down here at $30, okay, then your stop loss should be right here so you can still make some profit. Because as soon as it hits this area, two things are going to happen. It's either going to bounce or it's going to drop even lower. And then you're going to break even or close to it. So that's why it's important, you know, when it comes to these popular trades here, is they don't give you a lot of time to make a decision. The trades that I find that are already cheap and on the bottom give you a lot of time to decide if you want to hold it or not. Well, there's a couple ways. Still kind of working out the kinks on displaying that to the whole group. We do have like one person, he's supposed to be working on a bot for Discord that will, you put a command in, watch list or something, and it will pop up in real time, pre-market. So then you can kind of do your own TA and decide what looks good and what doesn't. I want to know if you agree. Okay. All right. So XRX, let's see. RX. Okay, so you can see where it bounced before, right? Even on this 1 minute time frame. You can see where the resistance is right here, but it is smoothing out a little bit, and it is getting under your RSI. But is that where the price really wants to go? Let's see. So what I do when I find my first resistance area is I put a line, okay? Because we know, guys, we know if it pops through here, if it hits this price, then I do see it going lower. All right, so we just built in 2 seconds its support and resistance area. If we're playing this trade right now, so if you wanted to short this, right, your shorting would be, you could short now, and this would be your stop loss. That makes sense. Yeah, but that doesn't mean shit. That's why visually you have to, yeah, because if you see how like these bands are kind of saying like adios, right? But the shorter bands are pointing downwards, you can tell that this area is becoming tricky to want to stay in this price range. Like this looks a lot better, right? Than this. It's that same thought process. The initial guys, the initial people that found the bounce, it never bounced, it never went lower, right? It bounced and it kept climbing and it broke through all the different support resistant line rules. Boom, it went through VWAP, check. Going through the bigger VWAP, not yet, rejected. Hold on though, because it still didn't drop below this VWAP, so I can still hold it. Now it went through the VWAP, check. Is it still in the red bands? Yes, but is it climbing? Did it go above the, or did it go under this deviation? No, I can still play this, check. Did it go under here yet? No, I can still play this, check. Okay, so we're consolidating here. Yes. Rejected. Did it break here? Yes. Now I can sell it. Did it go higher? Yes, but I already made profit down here, so who cares? If you have a thought process like that, that's how professional traders are also looking at this trade. That makes sense? So you want to long it at the bottom again, right? You want it cheaper. Okay. So let's just put that price range in there for you. Okay. 25.10. Let's see why you liked it so much. Let's just see. Let's just see. Okay, so here's one good spot. I do see that, right? It's breaking through this this bigger deviation line. So if it breaks through this one right here, if it closes below, then I can see what you're seeing. And it has bounced previously before, but hell, you might be able to get it cheaper. You know what I'm saying? Might get it cheaper, man. There's no better feeling. Well, besides, no, I won't go there, but there's no better feeling than buying the bottom. There's nothing. You feel like a goddamn VIP. You feel like a fucking winner. You feel the best, man. Like maybe the top 5% of professional traders were able to buy the bottom, and you're one of them. That's the best feeling. Not this shit here, right? Where you know, it where you bought right here. I'm talking about the bottom. Taking all of that fucking money. Excuse my French, but shit hypes me up sometimes, man, when I buy the bottom. 24.15. We're gonna do TL. I'm just seeing if it's gonna break through here. I guess I could pop all the charts up. So there we go. So 24.95. I see a support. 24.80. I see another support. 24.44. How's daily look? Now we do know if it goes past this, it could go higher, but looks like it's already tried that. Where's my other bands? You guys are messing me up. There we go. Ooh. It's funny because we're actually watching this test right now. Like if it stops right here on those two simple lines that we just freaking TA'd, it's gonna go higher. Like you miss the initial buy-in. How mad will that make you? You see what I'm seeing? No, like I pay attention to the smoothness of the bands. If the bands are like smoothing out, that means it seems like it's getting some like more buyers interested into wanting to play this. So you can see it's, let me remove the lines, but you can see it's trying to, in a way it needs to close above this deviation right here at 25.69. Okay. So it could, if it drops right beside it and then climbs back up, that would be tough to short. It's always hard to short when it's in the green compared to when it's in the red. If you're looking at that way of trading, you want to look in the red. Looking here, it could just have a little pullback and then keep going up. And the biggest reason is because these long bands here are still holding that support. Okay. So let's try another ticker. What else you got? Excuse me, guys. Ugh. It's been early. I was up at like 4 a.m. this morning. GDS and cow. Oh, GDS and cow. Ow. Let's check out GDS. Are you wanting to get into this? We had GDS last week. So the initial buy-in probably would have been here because it didn't bounce down, correct? It never bounced down. Bounce. Even though it played this area, you know, like a double bounce, It's running away from the deviations. See? Now you're waiting to short. You're shorting GDS. You can see there's resistance through here in 2 areas. Wait, didn't we talk about this last week? Do I got lines? I do got lines. It's always good when I have lines. So yeah, I think we were playing right here, weren't we? We were. So it did reject. And now it's rejecting its last resort, this last VWAP here. You know, the way I look at it is like a checkpoint. Like, your credit not good? No, fuck you. You're out of here. Got to have good credit, credentials, whatever. Like, all right, you're good. You can go. The VWAP's like a checkpoint. So, and you can see that it's getting like in that 70 range on the RSI. Let me just turn everything back on. The only thing that concerns me a little bit is the bands. Their direction kind of still going up. But the bigger bands are kind of pushing the price down. So maybe overall, maybe this is what's going to happen. That this will actually be the fall because it's starting the curve, right? And the bands are going to do something like this. And maybe this is something like that's going to happen. 28.15, that's where you shorted? You plan on entering a short. Okay. This is tough area, guys. This is a hard spot to short anything in the middle. It's always easier to short it at the top. As soon as it felt this deviation through here, that's when you could have shorted it. Anytime it's in this middle range, it gets tough. Yeah. Yep. It gets tough. It gets hard, boys. I'll put it this way. I'm not shorting it. Because it's deciding. It's not saying, hey, short me. It could be like, hey, I'm going to bounce here. Because look how much support it's building right here through this area. It's got support on this VWAP. It's got a deviation right under it. And then you have the big guy. So look how much support you have. It's got to break all through this support just to get down. That's a lot. All right. God damn it. The RSI, I only use that most of the time for the setup in the mornings. Like, I only see if it's a buy scenario, not a short. Usually when I'm doing a short, I'm using the bands. I'm just looking at the bands because the RSI will show a lot of false signals. Because sometimes it will reject at 70 RSI. Sometimes it will go up to 90 RSI. So it's so flaky, right? That's why we need that. We need to know where that resistance is. Remember, these bands right here are those short bands on another time frame, on a bigger time frame. So 32 and 23, 32, 23, maybe those. You can see it's squeezing, but it's good to, you can see how these bigger bands are rolling, right? So if they start rolling up, then this thing's going to keep climbing. The moving average algo, the what? Sometimes I really hit myself in the face for even adding all that other shit. I just thought it would help people see the direction, but honestly, like most of my successful trades are from the bands. Like I don't use the algos that much, the RSI bands that much. Sometimes if it's a real volatile stock, but most of the time I'm just looking at the bands. Because I try to I wanted to simplify things for people. I didn't want it to be like overwhelming, because it can already be overwhelming trading. Yeah, I definitely would. I would. That's why I took the buy and sell off. I took that away from you guys because I feel like it's not teaching you anything. If anything, it's not teaching you patience. It was the worst mistake I ever made. As far as this group was putting that stupid buy and sell in there. But at one time, I thought we were going to do some automation for crypto. Long gray line. What about it? You can talk on the mic if you want. It's easier to get your point across. Or question. Yeah, I can't hear you either.
Tom, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
There we go. On my computer.
I have a question for you. On the 1 hour GDS, if you look at the gray line, I'm assuming it's the mean long. Is that significant resistance, or is that previous moving price points?
Look at how many times it's rejected from this area.
Correct. That's why I'm trying to.
And if it stays above that VWAP, then it's possible that it's going to keep climbing. Right? Do something like this. So do you see how it's squeezed? So it's good to look. Damn it. I always do that, by the way.
Yeah, I do the same when I have a tool open here.
Okay, so do you notice here? Let me blow this up. Zoom it out a little bit. So do you notice how it's squeezed through here like this? Okay.
Yeah.
So there was an area where it started to climb. It went above that VWAP, right?
Mm-hmm.
It never went below it. It just kept climbing. Okay, that's when you would have took profit. So your short would have been up here, okay? Because even though the price was moving up, the bands were moving away from the price. Okay? So as soon as it broke this deviation, it just started climbing back down. Okay, and even the direction of the bands were showing that. You can see the direction was saying it's going down. Okay, now technically, it has not touched this band yet. Okay, so it's sort of consolidated, and it's sort of bouncing up. Now this could just consolidate and squeeze previously, like it just did right here.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's very important to see those similar patterns from the band. So this could just consolidate above 2764 and just, it could stay in this price range. If the VWAP holds as a support, then you would not short this yet. Now the safe play would probably be on a higher resistance, right? So you would need to find like this mark right here at that 27. Let's say right here. Let's put it at 2750. Okay. Let's put a mark there, and let's also do a mark right here. That's, let me see it. Where did it previously reject? Yeah. So it rejected here before. Okay. So then we're going to go to a higher time frame and see if that makes sense. All right.
Yeah, I was looking at it off the 1 hour actually. You see how that? I wish I can click on your screen. You see on the 1 hour resistance is 28.95. At least mine is, right. Yeah. You see that the resistance line 28.95. A little gray resistance line right there. That one, top.
I don't see it. Which one? This one? Where?
That one. You just had that gray one. The gray little line. The zigzag. The only gray line that you have.
I guess I'm not seeing what you're seeing.
It's a red line actually. My screen is gray. I'm sorry. The red. It's like a maroon line. That one right there. Perfect. So that,
Okay.
considering that, once we touch that, it's never past that specific line. It keeps getting rejected and slapped. Is it safe to open a short if I'm playing strictly the 1 hour?
Okay, so this is that. Okay, so this is an RSI band. All right. So this doesn't necessarily mean it's going to reject from here.
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
Now that's the issue that I'm having with when I put these new toys on there is people are, they're looking at that. What you're looking at is the highest areas of resistance. Okay. So I find that from the bands, and usually they correlate with the VWAP somewhere. Okay. So from on this picture, I'm seeing that there is selling pressure, but there is some direction happening. So
we're right under the VWAP, right? The gray one. Yeah, we're right under it. All right, makes sense.
Yeah. So we're sort of like that 2831 range. That might be where it goes, and then maybe that's where you want to short it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm seeing. So if we put a line there, okay, that 2826, and then we go back down to lower time frames. 28, let's see, 29. That was the previous one where it rejected. Gosh, it's almost like you're chasing this one.
Yeah, I don't even. That's exactly what I'm doing. I'm kind of waiting until it gets to a good spot so I could just short it because I don't know what else.
Yeah, you're sort of chasing this this gray range. I hate these kind of stocks where it's like already, it's kind of like people. You go, okay, so I made this analogy a long time ago when it comes to using the indicator. So I compare it to like doing a marathon, like a race. Okay. So the people that we are, we already finished the race before, like, people say go. So when people say go, that's when all the other traders are hearing about it on the news or the chatter, and everybody's on this trade, right? So now we don't really know which direction it could go. Okay, there's some confusion going on. So we are the people that we already finished the race. We took our profit and we're done with that ticker. So in the shorting scenario would have been either here or here, right? Or maybe even here. Possibly here, but still it's in the gray range. I would even argue there. I probably would have said here. So I think now could you short this still? Well, you made rules for it, right? You know for a fact if it breaks here that it could go lower, right?
Let me ask you, Thomas, let me interrupt you so I don't lose my train of thought. On the higher time frames, if you have the short, what are they called? Are they called short vamp? The two gray lines, are they the VWAPs? Are they short and long? What are they?
I'm sorry. Say that one more time.
The two gray lines that we're looking at right now, are they specifically the VWAPs?
Yes.
Okay, they're the VWAPs. All right, so now you have you have a VWAP for the short bands and a VWAP for the long bands, correct?
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, two gray ones. Now, if you look at the 8 hour, right? If you look at the 8 hour and you go to 2976, my 8 hour, I don't know why yours is different than mine, but my 8 hours shows that the VWAPs, both of them, the short and the long, are right on top of each other. Does that mean that it's even more stronger of a resistance?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I had my EXT on. That's only for if you're looking at this thing pre-market or post.
Yeah.
That might be why. That's probably why there was confusion. So we see, okay, so we see where the rejection's happening on this VWAP right here.
Correct. Yeah.
Right? That's what you're talking about?
Yeah, I have both gray lines right on top of each other right now currently. So I'm assuming that it's going to be a very hard spot to pass.
It's a very tough, yeah, it's a very tricky spot. Yeah, for sure.
That makes sense.
For sure. Cool. But you know that if it does break this price or break through this VWAP, it's going to climb here. Okay? That's why this is a risky area to short.
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
Because even though it hasn't broke through, if it does, right, it still has quite a bit of time to do so. So let's see if on a lower time frame to see if it has broken through. So it did break through one of these VWAPs, right? Still hasn't got to that 30. I think $30 is like an area of resistance for this. Right? So here's another one that it might be going towards.
Yeah.
Let me see my 77 million. It's showing about the same.
The 2 hour and the 8 hour in sync. That's awesome. Good to know.
So let's see if this is showing the same. So it's kind of, slowed down quite a bit, hasn't it? Because this one, like the price is, this VWAP is going lower now, right? So this thing might break through this VWAP eventually and start going down. It has to stay above right here, this 2760. It has to. I wonder if this is going to put things in different perspective now, since, so this was the rejection, right? So the bands are running away from the price.
Yeah.
It rejected off this deviation here, and then it failed to get past this deviation here. Now it could be dropping again. And you can see it's an area where it's rejected before quite a bit. So this could be the short play.
Let me ask you a question. Why is on my 5 minute time frame, the top deviation for you, it's completely under the price action. Mine is above, has a resistance. Yours is looking like it's a support. Do I have a different setting?
Maybe. Are you using like bats, or do you have?
Yeah,
like,
I'm using bats.
Maybe that's why. So I have. So I purchase real time for my trading view. So you can, it's usually behind, and it can mess with the band sometimes. So I would suggest just paying, I think it's like $2 or something. It's like $2 a month.
Got it.
For NASDAQ and ARCA and NYSE, New York Stock Exchange. You can purchase all those, depending on like what you're trading the most, but NYSE is a pretty popular one. So
that makes sense.
Yeah, it's super cheap. But again, like the big rejection is when you see the bigger bands right here. These guys. When you start seeing rejections through here, that's when you short. JDS looks boring as hell though. Like it
is.
Yeah, I would have got rid of it a long time ago. But then you have like CTRP. Has been a moneymaker.
Let's see.
And this actually played the bands perfectly. You bought here, you sold here. You bought here, you're selling here. If you were doing like a day trade or a swing.
Oh, this is pretty accurate shit.
What's up?
This CTRP, it's on the money.
Yeah. You'll see that it's very good at finding bounces, and it's very good at finding the resistance. So when you see like some tightness going on right here,
Yeah.
they don't like this price. They don't like this area. So it could be climbing even higher. I think it's going to go higher. But the key is to buy low. Anyway, guys, I have to get going. I have to go drop my dog off.
Thanks, Thomas. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I totally forgot. My wife just texted me. So he's got to get a haircut. But we'll talk more. We'll do these webinars more. I want you guys to have a good grasp of what's going on so we can all kind of help each other make money. So, but this, this is part of it. Usually I just, do my due diligence and do my own TA and go through all these myself and find out which ones I'm going to buy and hold, stop losses and whatnot. But it'll be cool having other eyes and stuff on it too.
Of course.
Right on, guys.
Thanks, man. Enjoy your day, bud.
Right. Bye.